Most of the southwestern part of the Iberian Peninsula is home to the landscape ecosystem Montado. Humans have cultivated quercus oaks here more than any other species, and still have a certain dominance. In 1992, the European Union began to recognize the uniqueness of this impressive natural habitat of over 3.5 million hectares. In the Montado ecosystem, the basic tree species are holm oaks and cork oaks. In Portugal, cork oaks occupy 660,000 hectares, and holm oaks occupy 460,000 hectares. They all have natural properties and value. Cork oak bark collection is an important local economic activity. The bark is collected every 9 years and can be regenerated. And during regeneration, cork oaks fix more carbon dioxide. Cork collection is strength and delicacy. The work refuses to be mechanized. This is a traditional job, and only the cork collectors can keep the trees safe. A special axe is designed for stripping and can easily lift the bark without hurting the trunk. A stripped bark is used in various industries, and the cork stoppers are the most famous in the cork industry.
And this part comes separate off the tree.
The bark of the cork oak is impregnated with a substance called suberin, which is insulating, and the honeycomb bark cell structure can effectively resist fire. The roots of a cork oak tree can reach 6 meters in the horizontal direction, and a tiny fungal system is formed at the connection between the roots. The roots can provide certain growth conditions for the fungus, and the fungus provide the necessary microorganism to make the roots stronger.
This is the fruit of the tree. It's a special
Montado stands for a diverse and rich production cycle. Its biological diversity has a vertical structure. Birds, acorns, animal husbandry creatures, and more. They shape Montado's unique biodiversity in vertical spaces. This also benefits from the close connection of trees in the Montado ecosystem, forming a more complete ecosystem. Although the Montado has existed for centuries, there have been sporadic disappearances. After the Anthropocene, the decline of this great ecosystem accelerated. Increased agricultural productivity and quick access to economic benefits are government endorsements for monoculture. I went back to Almeida, standing next to the cork oaks that had disappeared. Based on previous observations of satellite images of the field, some oak trees may have disappeared for some reason. Where the trees disappeared, olive saplings have been planted to replace the vacant land. Only a few bushes and branches left on the ground represent evidence of the dead cork oak. But even with the dead trees, the ecosystem it forms are richer than the barren ecosystems of intensive olive groves. Near Pedregal, a Montado territory by the Guadiana River, although it is more pristine than the fields in Almeida surrounded by intensive planting, but that doesn't stop dying. The stumps and charred tree trunks left by manual felling indicate the impact of human activities. In the fields next to Hoshu Dam, The solitary cork oak stands in the middle of the intensive planting, creating a strong sense of division. In general, Montado grows in gentle, agriculturally inefficient soils with little organic matter. This is not a static ecosystem. Trees, creatures, and shrubs make up the landscape. When humans managed Montado, animal husbandry shaped the landscape. An understory became land for pastures and crops. Shrubs are gradually removed. This pristine Mediterranean ecosystem gradually succumbed to humans and still happens today. Improperly designed livestock policies, which prevented the regeneration of woodlands, were also an aspect of Montado Crisis. Therefore, shrubs in woodlands are particularly important, preventing acorns from being eaten by herbivores, allowing trees to regenerate and restoring ecology. Beyond that, while Montado is a promising ecosystem, it's not getting enough attention. The European Union does not subsidize Montado, so breaking away from capitalism is unrealistic, in which case it will be uncompetitive if the ecosystem were to degrade. Also, when Portugal joined the European Union, the policy made the Montado landscape system more focused on monocultures. Areas were designated for specific plantings, resulting in the division of landscape systems.
O próprio clima, compreendes? O próprio clima, o tempo, o montado, nós aqui tínhamos muito montado, muito bom. Chovia, havia as 4 estações do ano. Agora nós não temos inverno, só temos inverno e verão. Já não há primavera nem um outono, compreendes? O montado tem que ser, diz cá as máquinas, compreendes? Máquinas, os tratores, as máquinas a trabalhar o montado, estás a ver? Isso vai-se tudo, compreendes? O montado, estás a ver? Há muito calor, faz muito calor, há pouca chuva. E o gado faz muito mal também. Já metem o gado e o gado não é bom para o montado. Por exemplo, para a cortiça, como tu estás aí a perguntar, não é? O gado, se tiver uma herdade com muita cortiça, com muito gado numa herdade com cortiça, não é bom para o montado. Estás a ver? E a cortiça, como vocês aí perguntam, devia-se tirar de 9 em 9 anos ou de 10 em 10. O que não vai acontecendo aqui em muitos sítios, né? Que é uma coisa que só dá dinheiro de 9 em 9 anos ou de 10 em 10, né? E eles vão atirando, às vezes até atiram aí com 8. Não deve ser feito isso, né? Querem atirar naquele ano. Então sabe-se daqui por 9 anos, sabe quem é que atirará. Mas a cortiça era a melhor zona do Alentejo, era a melhor coisa de Portugal, era aqui no Alentejo a cortiça. Cada vez vamos tendo menos. Porque é o clima vai sendo diferente, o clima é diferente, depois é o gado, depois as terras não são arranjadas, é tudo com tratores, é tudo com tratores, tudo com máquinas. Não querem saber que passa ao pé de uma árvore, não passa, que arranquem a perdinho, depois vai tudo secando.
The drawbacks of the capitalist ecology are reflected in the Montado ecology. Political policy making sets the tone for the violence suffered by landscape systems. When the Alcueva Dam was built, the rising water level of the Guadiana River caused the land that was closely connected to it to disappear rapidly. And trees on the land disappeared. 2003, the island in the middle was gradually engulfed, and then the water level continued to rise and destroyed most of the land. Portugal's definition of minimum tree density also contributes to tree degradation. In the Corcock forest near the city of Beja, the oaks at the edge of the forest, that is low-density oaks, and they were legally removed, and the lost woodland was replaced by intensive agriculture. At the same time, the expansion of the river channel also eroded part of the land, and the surrounding forest land disappeared. The land around Hosho Dam was dominated by Corcock woodland in 2003. In 2012, several trees were removed. And in 2021, the land was changed to intensive planting. Why are we defending Montado? When we dig deeper into it, we discover that Montado's intrinsic and economic value is closely related to human beings. When we think about the means and the purpose of protecting it, we are defending our own survival. The social relationship structure and economic structure created by the development of human society as a trigger for the environmental struggle of Alentejo. Balancing the conflict between ecosystems and people is the focus of the transformation of capitalist agriculture. Focusing on the Montado is part of the Alentejo's environmental movement, where generations of rural communities are bound to fight for their territory.